In this last part, I just would like to conclude the overview on the fulfillment process and the management through SAP RP, making some comments about the credit management activities on customers and some reporting that can be generated from the execution of this process. So first of all, in our discussion of the fulfillment process, of the month fulfillment process, we assume that the customer has sufficient credit to pay everything when we bill or invoice him or her. Of course, that's not ever true, and company usually assess whether their customer are able to grant it credit to purchase and so receive goods prior to payment. This is named the credit management process, and the credit management process is essentially a process that aims to assess 3 points during the fulfillment process. If the customer is able to pay or to be issued goods or service when the sales order is created or changed, when the delivery will be authorized, so the delivery document created, and when the post-goods issue will be performed during shipping. In particular, companies usually approve this or not according to the level of credit exposure of their customer, and total credit exposure is calculated as the sum of the value of open orders, scheduled deliveries, and open invoices and current plus the current order value. So the credit exposure is all that the customer has not already paid until now, plus the current order, which will generate an accounts receivable more than the actual value that the customer is already having with the company. Of course, when we evaluate the current exposure of a customer, then the outcome can be different. For example, here is just an example. I just highlighted three possible options named warn and continue, error and terminate, and block delivery. Warn and continue means that you warn the user even if you allow the process to continue. So you warn that the credit exposure has increased, but you continue to manage the process. Error and terminate instead display an error and do not allow the process to continue. So the credit exposure is too high, or there is some error, so the process is by now stuck. Or in the last case, you block the delivery of the order. All three outcomes are possible when the sales order or delivery document are being created or changed, while instead, during the post-good issue, the only option is to block the good issue from being posted. So, if you want to block the delivery at the post-good issue level, you just have to block the delivery. You cannot just warn, continue, or error and terminate. This is, the possible process that you can experience when you manage a credit management activities. First, the company create the sales order and perform the credit check. If the credit exposure falls below the credit limit, then the fulfillment process continues. So you can go on with the shipping document, the delivery document, and so on. If it exceeds the credit limit associated to this customer, the figure, illustrates that you need to go on other type of flows of the process, which means that no, you have reached the limit, so you can block the delivery. The order is then saved, and it will remain in the delivery block status until it will be reviewed by a credit manager. So the person that in the company is taking care of evaluating the level of risk associated to each customer, and if it will approve this, then you can go on with the fulfillment process. While instead, if the fact that this credit exposure has increased to a level which is a level of risk that is not acceptable for the company, the order is rejected and the customer is informed of this decision. So the credit exposure will be too high with this order. So before going on, pay what you have open, and then we can recreate the sales order. So release the sales order and inform the customer of of the decision. Then finally, of course, as all the process, with the fulfillment process, we have different options for reporting. So we have, first of all, some fulfillment specific reporting option, which is named document flow. While instead, again, as in every SAP process, we can generate what we call online list, work list, and analytics. The document flows is, a particular type of document that can be generated from the fulfillment process. During all that we see in the previous class, we have examined many of the documents which are associated with the fulfillment process, like inquiries, sales order, delivery documents, billing documents, payment documents. So they are a lot. There are a lot of documents that are needed for the management, the proper management of the fulfillment process. It could be useful that you are able to display all the documents at the same time, in order to have an integrated view of how the process was managed and what the process creates. This is exactly what the document flow reporting option makes in SAP ERP. So a document flow displays all the documents which are associated with the different step of the fulfillment process. You see here, you start from the inquiry, then you go to the quotation, then the standard order, then the outbound delivery, then what happens in the outbound delivery, and then the accounting documents. So just recalling the transaction, you can display and then view all the different documents that have interest this specific fulfillment process. And the document flow is updated every time. A specific step of the fulfillment process is completed in the system. Then work list. Work lists have the same meaning of every other work list we saw in other processes. So work lists identify tasks that are ready for completion. This list can be generated for each task involved in fulfillment, such as preparing delivery, picking, post goods, issues and billing. For example, here you see, you have in the fulfillment process, you have different steps like sales order generation, shipping, billing, accounting, posting goods, and so on, according to what you select. For example, here, if you select the sales order stage, you can see all the sales orders that are open and need to be completed in the system. Here you see all the shipping work lists, so all the shipping documents that are open, or the outbound delivery that are open and need to be completed in the near future, and so on. So according to what you are interested in, you can see the amount of activity that is open in the ERP system for the process, in order to understand what you need to do in the near future. Online lists instead are used to generate lists of documents associated with specific master data. In the context of fulfillment, any of the documents which I've discussed so far can be displayed for specific customer or materials, or combination of the two. So, for example, you can list the sales order related to the customer, the specific delivery documents related to the customer, or the specific delivery documents related to a material, or a list of sales order for a specific combination of customer and materials, and so on. These are all lists that can be used to understand the efforts put in the process for a specific customer or specific activities. In the example you see here, a list of sales order is generated for a particular sold to party. So in particular, in this case, the figure displays 3 orders, so 1241, 1549, and 1600, and these are the sales order which are associated to the sold party C1, and you can, once you have displayed this, then you can do some specific visualization through the system. Finally, of course, please remember that SAP ERP, if it has some business analytics tool or intelligence reporting tool installed on that, allows also to make some more advanced analysis. In particular, here you can see the characteristic of the information structure in the sales information system. So this is the information that is stored in the ERP. So you have organizational elements, sales organization, shipping points, master data like customer and material, and so on. So starting from this, and so also characteristic of the activities, and starting from this you can generate some advanced analysis in order to support the decision-making activities of your sales force. Again, this is not typical of ERP, but just to give an example of how an analytics tool look like. So it extracts data from the ERP system and generate a dashboard and an analytic reporting like this. So for example, in this case, the dashboard for Apple Hat displays different views on how the sales have been managed during the year. So you have the monthly total, then you have the sales split by department, then you have the sales year to date, then you have the sales made by the different account in the organization. Then you have you can display, for example, the sales for the different type of customer, different type of product, and by aggregating different views you can obtain specific analysis like the sales made by a department for a specific customer in a specific time or region, and those supporting possible improvement in the future for your sales organization and sales activities.